Hello ladies, welcome back to the Confidence Club. Thank you so much for subscribing to our premium membership here. Today I am going to be talking about a strategy, a step-by-step plan, a method to practically take hold of your manifestation and your goals. This is less about mindset and more about implementation. So obviously we want to get our mindset right, but we also want to make sure that as we're moving through life and taking action, because even though we can manifest without action, a life without action is boring. So we want to be taking the action that feels good, that feels exciting, that feels in alignment, that feels like the most confident action that we can take. So that's what today's video is going to be all about. And sorry if the sun is at like a weird angle. But yeah, I wanted to film outside today. It's very pretty outside and it is good for your mental health. So anyways, this is a system that I sort of semi-stole from my dad, although he really grounded it into my head growing up. And I'm pretty sure that he stole it from somebody else and adapted it to his own way, because don't we all? That's what most humans are doing is, you know, we pick up things here and there and then we turn it into our own. And we implement it from there. So this is a system called working the 2's, and you'll see really quickly why it's called working the 2's or the 2's. So 2 seconds, stop. Whatever you're doing, stop. Okay, because we need to pause and then we need to plan. 2 minutes, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna make a plan in 2 minutes or less. Ideally, you can take up the whole 2 minutes. It can take longer than 2 minutes if you needed to, but that's the whole idea, is 2 seconds, stop what you're doing, take a breath, be mindful, come to the present moment. And for the next 2 minutes, we're gonna plan. Where do you see yourself in 2 weeks? If you don't change anything that you're doing, where do you see yourself in 2 weeks? Then the second question is, where do you want to be in 2 weeks? And if those don't align, we know you need to make an adjustment. Okay, and then 2 months. Where do you see yourself in 2 months? If you don't change your habits, if you don't change your mindset, if you don't change your affirmations, your techniques, if you don't manifest anything different than you've already been manifesting, where will you be in 2 months? And the way you'll know where you'll be in 2 months is, where were you 2 months ago and 2 months before that, and did you make progress? So if where you will be in 2 months from now, based on your current trajectory, is not where you want to be, then we answer, where do you want to be in 2 months? And we compare. And the same goes for 2 years. Where do you see yourself in 2 years? And where do you want to be in 2 years? And the beauty of this plan is you can consistently reevaluate it, and you ought to consistently reevaluate it, because every 2 weeks is a new 2 weeks. Even every week you can redo the plan. I wouldn't do this every day, but roughly every week to 2 weeks, I wouldn't go longer than a month to implement this strategy, because it is a way of constantly and consistently checking in with where you are today and making sure that where you're going is still where you want to be going. The number one reason people fail with their manifestations is they get lost in habit. They get lost in perpetuating the same cycles that they've been stuck in or have unconsciously put themselves in, and they're not doing any reevaluation. You're not replanning, you're not shifting your focus, you're not changing your intentions. You're sort of just letting life for you, which is like living on autopilot, or I call it living in default mode. And your default mode is based on your dominant assumptions and beliefs. And obviously, if you are watching content like this, your dominant assumptions and beliefs have not been sufficient to get you where you want to be. They have not been updated or, reselected really in alignment with the future you're attempting to create. And using this 2's method allows you to, in a short amount of time, in a controlled time frame, assess yourself and become aware of the habits that are already taking place. So let's say you have a health goal. So for me, I had a goal of reaching 140 pounds. I have since done that. I believe I hit 140 pounds sometime in February of this year. So it's been some time. And it took me from, I would say December of 2021 was when I first really started to change my diet. So from December of 2021 to 2023 was 2 years, although I didn't lose a lot of weight in the beginning of 2022. That's just when I made the conscious decision and that goal. So it took me over 2 years to actually achieve it, but the first 6 months of that time frame, I really wasn't doing a lot of work on it. And there were a lot of fluctuations where my weight went up, my weight went down, my habits were good, and then they were not so good. My mindset was stellar, and then it fell apart. So that's the reason for my inconsistency. And oftentimes what I noticed is when I was becoming inconsistent, I was not reevaluating often enough. I was not looking at my trajectory often enough. I was not paying enough attention to my mental diet, and therefore I was not aware of myself slipping back into my default mode. So when we work these 2's, we want to make sure you're not judging yourself. This is not about being like, oh my goodness, the last 2 months have been nightmarish and my mental diet has been trash and I've created all these circumstances, or, I gained a bunch of weight in the last 2 months, or I lost a bunch of money in the last 2 months, or I backtracked. I not only did I not make progress, I fell backwards, or even if you're just like plateaued and you didn't make any progress, or you feel like you didn't make any progress, it's not about shaming, blaming, or judging yourself right now. There's no room for criticism in this method, in this system of planning. It is just about being very practical and being very honest with yourself and allowing yourself to be transparent about where you are succeeding and where you are failing. So if I look at the past 2 months, what did I succeed in? I made a ton of milestones in my business. That's great. My health, I got sick a little bit, a lot of it actually. It was really a nasty flu, so that kind of was like a backtrack sort of, because I wasn't being adamant about taking care of my health. And then my relationship was like up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And that's all I'm gonna say on that, okay? There are more videos to come about that. But I realized that if I'm being really honest, my mental diet for the past 2 months was a 7.5 out of 10 at best. I would say it's closer to a 7 out of 10, which for me is like, I feel a little bit bad about it, but at the same time, it was a learning process, and I still made a lot of progress that I'm really proud of. So again, without the judgment here, I'm just being aware of like, where was I actually at? Now, if the next 2 months look just like the last 2 months did, I have failed. I'm gonna be honest, because there's no reason that I should have a 2-month span where my mental diet is 7 out of 10 when I know this stuff and I use this stuff daily, and I'm doing my habits and rituals and routines to upkeep myself, and not just to upkeep the progress that I've made, but to improve on it. So if I don't in the next 2 months redirect where I'm at least an 8 out of 10, I will consider that a failure. So now that I am able to assess my previous 2 months, I can tell myself, where do I want to be in the next 2 months? In the next 2 months with my health and fitness, I want to make sure that throughout these colder months, I'm still active. So I'm able now to see where that might be difficult. I might run into an obstacle there. And so I have to come up with, am I going to take yoga classes or Pilates classes, or am I going to take another type of indoor fitness class to make sure I'm still getting exercise? Am I going to change up my diet a little bit? Is there anything I can cut out of my diet in the next 2 months that will help me to get through the winter without getting sick like I did back in August? Hopefully, ideally, yes, we're affirming it, we're manifesting it. And then as far as my business, well, I'm already planning and implementing strategies that I know will support my business growth through the rest of the year, not just for the next 2 months, but especially the next 2 months, that I have confidence in. So I'm happy with where I've been growing in business. I'm going to continue that same pace and that same direction since it worked for the last 2 months. And then for my relationship, that's where I would say my mental diet was like 5 out of 10, to be honest. I don't know what happened. Stress, life, hormones, etc., default setting, trauma, whatever you want to talk. it's not about why the last 2 months were like that. It's about recognizing that if the last 2 months get repeated, I will be miserable. I will not be happy. I will not be satisfied. I will not be proud of myself. So what I know I have to change is be very, very strict with my mental diet, because I was very not strict for the past 2 months, particularly in that category. And what I realized is I wasn't focused on myself as much as I should have been. And every time, this is the pattern, every time the focus comes off of me and goes towards the relationship starts to decline. Because we understand this. We understand, if you're on this membership, you understand attachment and detachment, and you understand pedestalization and self-abandonment, and you understand, or you ought to, if not, there's plenty of content on my free channel as well as on this paid membership that you'll be able to educate yourself on these things. So we, at least most of you watching on this point, we understand how easily it can go poorly in a relationship if you're not keeping up with your self-concept and your mental diet. So very practical changes that I can make in the next 2 months. And looking at where I was 2 years ago, I'm so proud of the changes that I've created. I feel as though, hitting my weight loss goal was a big one, obviously. Restarting my business was a big one. Changing my business entirely, because I threw out pretty much everything. I used to just coach business, small business owners and entrepreneurs, people wanting to start a business. And I sort of fell out of love with it because I was doing it too much. I recognized there were more problems I wanted to solve. So that's why I made this brand, this channel, started from scratch. So the fact that I've done that in the last 2 years makes me very proud. I moved states in the last 2 years. That was really awesome. Obviously, met my husband, got married. That was awesome. Trying to think other big things that I can share on this channel. Well, obviously I had to get divorced in the last 2 years to do that also. For those of you who don't know, yes, first marriage was so win-win, I guess. We overcame it. We manifested a better relationship now. So that's good. So I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty satisfied with the progress that I've made over the past 2 years, despite the ups and downs that I've had. I'm not going to say but. And I know that because of the progress I've made, because of the lessons I've learned, because of the strategies I've implemented in the past 2 years, the next 2 years, they're going to be amazing. They're going to blow the last 2 years out of the water. So if I keep going how I've been going for the past 2 months for the next 2 years, will I get there? Probably not, because a 7.5 out of 10, 7 out of 10 mental diet, it's just not going to cut it. I need to ride somewhere around 8.5 to 9 out of 10 at the very least, allowing myself some clearance, because, I don't want to push myself, rush myself. I want to take this in a very soft, gentle, pleasurable way of a nice, slow, permanent evolution. So knowing that, what is it going to take for me to make sure that in 2 years, I accomplish more than I have in the past 2 years? Well, obviously the mental diet thing. So how then am I going to make sure I keep up my mental diet? Well, this year I adopted a new mentor, or rather got adopted by a new mentor, and she is amazing, and she has been so helpful and so profound, and I've had so many changes and successes in the last couple of months because of her. So I know for sure one of the things I'm going to do is continue coaching with her. I'm going to continue investing in her programs. I'm going to continue learning from her content, and not just learning from it, but making sure I apply it. Right? Okay. And the same thing goes for my health. Like, I've learned many lessons. I've been through many cycles in health. I know what it takes to be healthy. So I'm going to continue to do what's working, and I'm going to continue to find better ways to implement the things that have not worked so well in the past, and reformulate them and experiment a little bit more. And I would really love to try like Pilates class and try some different classes, and maybe get to meet some, different new women to connect with in those classes. That would be really awesome. So I can do that. Now, as far as the relationship goes, I've been working so much on this for many years to figure my ish out, to sort all of the childhood trauma, etc., out. And so I know for sure my business coach does offer SP courses and stuff like that. However, I think more what I need is going to be books. And so I have several books that I've already read. I'm going to reread some of them. And I'm going to really study up, because I've been so focused on business and health, like physical health, mental health for the past few years, that I have not put the same emphasis on relational health. And that might be shocking to hear, considering, like I said, I divorced and then manifested a new specific person, and then we got married. So it might be shocking to hear that I haven't really been that focused on it, at least not developing myself in that arena. So I know for sure that is something in the next 2 years I will definitely be focused on. I will be intentional about. I will be watching my mental diet much more carefully in that way, and so that I can control that trajectory. I can manifest the results I'm looking to manifest. So now that I've outlined my 2's and how to break that down and how that works and how that looks like, your homework is going to be 2 seconds. Stop. So when this video is over, I want you to stop whatever it is you're doing, unless you're at work or driving, or, if you have stuff to do, take care of that first, and then make time in the day to take 2 seconds, stop yourself. Take 2 deep breaths. Okay, we're gonna pause. We're gonna press pause on the life button, on the life remote, and take 2 minutes to plan it out. Where will you be in 2 weeks if you change nothing? Where do you want to be in 2 weeks? Where will you be in 2 months if you change nothing? And where were you 2 months ago? And where would you like to be in 2 months? And where will you be in 2 years if you change nothing? And where were you 2 years ago? And where would you like to be in 2 years? And you can write it down. I highly recommend, especially if you're like me, ADHD brain, too much going on in there at all times. If you don't write it down, it'll fly away. So it really helps to get a little sheet of paper and write down your 2's. And if you're a very visual person and you need reminders, you can even set this as your phone background, or put it on your vision board, or put it next to your calendar, or next to your mirror when you get ready, your vanity if you have that, or put it somewhere where you're going to see it and you're going to be reminded about it. And the second part of the homework is to create affirmations that are in alignment with the adjustments you have to make, right? So for me, one example, because I know that my mental diet has been a 7.5 out of 10, what I'm going to affirm every time I look at my 2's, my plan, is I have an 8. I don't know if I want to put an 8 out of 10. I have a perfect mental diet. I have a positive mental diet. I am someone who keeps and maintains a positive mental diet. It'll be some type of affirmation. If you want to use numbers, I would aim high. That's what I'll say. My first thought was like 8 out of 10, because that's half a point improvement, but I can do better than that. So instead, for me, I'm going to do a broad affirmation that's more, I always keep a positive mental diet. And then I would have another affirmation like, I'm in the perfect marriage, or I am always satisfied with my relationship. Things like that. So you want to have those affirmations that are in alignment with who you are attempting to become. So this is, where do you want to be in 2 years, and who do you have to be in 2 years? Those affirmations, what you have to change, and then in 2 months, where do you want to be in 2 months, and if you have to make changes in the next 2 months, what affirmations are going to support you in that? So that's your homework. 2 steps for your homework. Anyways, that was a really fun lesson. I've been wanting to share this for a long time. I just needed to, create the channel, create the appropriate sharing space to speak to the right people with this, because this is something for the women who are actually taking their progress seriously. This is obviously, like, the Confidence Club is all about women who are ready to do the work and who have already started to do the work and who are really serious about improving themselves, improving their confidence, improving their self-concept, improving their circumstances, manifesting the success in love and health and finance, because why not? It is 2024, about to be 2025. Why can't we have it all? You know, why shouldn't we want it all? We are modern women in a modern world, and we have access to all of those things. So why deny ourselves access? I intend that this video was super helpful, and just as a reminder, since it is cozy season, I do have a link for comfort, hoodies, and loungewear in my description down below. You will get 15% off your order, and they are really nice, fuzzy, cozy hoodies made by a company that supports positive mental health, and that is what we're all about on this channel. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!